You're on. No, they can hear you just in the room. Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome to the press conference. We're also limited on time, but we'll start off with questions for Stuart, please, and we'll do it all in. So broadcasting it, and just feel free to crack on. You can take the first question. Thank you. Yes, okay.
Folks, can you hear? Yeah. Do you want to ask away?
Yes, David. Do you want to ask David Barnes? Do you want to ask the first question?
So I thought we were broken. Just your initial reaction on that, and what more could have happened to get the result you were after?
I think for us, we're really quite frustrated with the outcome. I thought for especially the first half was probably some of the best rugby we've played all campaign, and we said all the right things at half time, and unfortunately the second half we just gave away a wee bit too many penalties, buffed up the ball a bit cheaply and compounded our errors. So it's bitterly disappointing, really quite frustrating, because I felt, as I say, we were in the game, but it just shows you have to stay in every single moment in test match rugby, because against a top side like Ireland, you're going to get punished.
Sure, there was obviously a bit of kind of stuff went on yesterday that you were involved in. How did that affect the preparation for the game? And have you got anything to say on that?
I think for us, we held our hands up. We knew we made a mistake, and we just got on with making sure that we prepared the best possible way. I think for us, it was a challenging week, but we had one of our best weeks of preparation. Really stuck together and got on our jobs. As I say, it had a massive effect on how we started this game, and unfortunately we've not been able to back it up in the second half.
Thanks, Stuart.
Stuart, talk us through the chance you had when you maybe had Sam inside you and went on the outside and the cover tackle was made. How pivotal a moment was that and in the game, do you think, because that could have closed down the score significantly?
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happened in that game, and unfortunately, classic, we've picked out the negatives. But look, I am disappointed with that. I felt I could back my belly and score in the corner, and another day I probably do, but we're looking at 5 seconds of an 8-minute performance. So yeah, fair play.
And just on the discipline stuff that emerged yesterday, I mean, what would your message be to the fans, who some of which would have probably been disappointed to hear senior players are obviously having to be disciplined in the week before a game?
I think the main thing for us is that we concentrate on doing what we can. I think for us, we talk a lot about staying connected as a team. I think for us, it's the opinions of the players, the coaches, the management, everything that matters to us. Everything else is irrelevant to me.
Did you have to apologise to the rest of the squad and the coaching staff?
I did. I held my hand up. I said I made a mistake, and it's something that hurt me for a long, long time. But yeah, I felt today we played some good rugby at times, and it made for a good game. I think the first 40 minutes, as I say, was some of the best rugby we've played. So yeah, we'll probably concentrate on that.
Any more questions?
Sure. Sorry to come back in on this. I mean, there's a bit of lack of clarity. We know there's a disciplinary. We know there's a visit to the pub. I don't know if it'd be helpful if could you explain what happened in your words?
What's out there is out there. I think for us, we'll just remain everything that we want to remain in house. I think for us, if we're concentrating on that, then we've just put on a fairly good performance that we're proud of. Large majority of that game, and we've talked a lot about building towards the summer tour and autumn internationals. So that's all we're focused on.
Thank you.
Stuart, were there any concerns about you retaining the captaincy after what happened?
Look, I don't know how many times I'm going to say that I apologise and put my hand up. I knew I made a mistake. As leader of the side, I'm very disappointed with what happened, but I can't sit here and say that I'm not disappointed. You know, for me, I was annoyed, I was frustrated. But yeah, like, I can't go back and change anything. So the longer we dwell on it, then I know exactly what you're after here. You're not going to get it.
Last question. No more. Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Everyone, please put themselves on mute.
Was that my walking music?
Me. Right, we'll start the second part of the press conference with Gregor. Once again, it's all in. We can have the first question. Thank you.
Gregor, discipline was a big issue again. I think 15 penalties against. You're the most penalised side in the championship. Is this becoming a serious problem?
Yeah, it's definitely been an issue this year. And discipline, I suppose, is not just one thing. It could be, I think in the France game, there was a lot of our attack that we were giving away penalties around the Jackal area. Today, there's probably a mix. When opposition have you under pressure in the 22, that's where you're going to get more penalties up. So probably addressing that would help us a lot, not allow teams into our 22. I felt our set-piece defence was very good today. Ireland had, I think, over 20 line-outs. From all defence, stood firm. Scrum, we got better and better as the game went on. I think we won a few penalties in that area. But yeah, if teams have you under pressure, you're probably going to give up more penalties. And Ireland had us under pressure at times today. The ones where we're really disappointed with and have been disappointed throughout the championship is ones where we're not under pressure. So whether someone jumps offside or comes through a rack when it's not on, and they have been part of our game this year, and that's been disappointing for us as a coaching group as much as it is for the players.
Gregor, how disappointed were you that the build-up to such an important game was overshadowed by off-field discipline issues? And did you feel let down by those senior players?
You're disappointed with a number of things, which involve things that you do as a coach, whatever it is, how you speak to the players. It could be things that you're disappointed with the referee. You could be disappointed with the way the team trained or played that day. Things happen. Obviously, what happened on Sunday was disappointing. So was today's result. But in groups and families, you have these moments where you can choose to come together, learn from it. And I believe that's what the team did throughout this week. The way they trained, they fronted up today. And look, I know rightly you'll be talking about the result, and that's the main thing when you play international rugby. But I saw a performance today that was better than most of our performances this year. Certainly the way we started the game and into the second half. It wasn't good enough to win the game, of course, but I was proud of what the team did following that incident at the weekend.
Could you clear up for us, Gregor? Did the players involved expressly go against an instruction not to go out?
Yeah, look, I think we've had a statement already about this. It's a private matter, that private discussions and decisions we make within the group. Anything on at the back of that is just gossip. So we move on. We moved on from that. There was nothing really to say more than that. Nobody ejected out the squad, as you saw. So we dealt with that in-house, and we had the best training week of the championship.
Gregor, you say it's just gossip, but you know, if people don't come clean and say what actually happened, it will, you know, these rumours just grow. You know, a lot of people invest a lot of money in going to watch Scotland, buying the gear, all the rest of it. Don't you think you maybe owe the public a little bit more?
Or what, Alistair?
Just an explanation of how it happened. Did the players go expressly against the orders of yourself or the team manager?
As we mentioned, there was an incident that has been dealt with. There's no the guidelines, and as Stuart mentioned there, he obviously apologised to the group. So that's all I'm going to say on it. And going into details about what happened with that group can be a long story. As I mentioned, things happen in groups. It's rugby related or non-related. It's what happens once you have an incident, let's call it. I don't know if it's too strong a word, but something that happened, and I was delighted with the reaction of the group and how we focused on our task of building in today's game and how we played, how we took the game to Ireland.
Okay.
Gregor, how has this affected your relationship with Stuart Hogg?
I think if you want a relationship with someone, it's all above the surface and nothing bad happens, and whether you've done something bad or the opposite or the person you're working with, then it's not going to be a close relationship. But if you can have one-on-one conversations over certain subjects that are tough to have, then you're going to have a close relationship in the long term. I don't think anybody's asked me a question about the game, but it's up to you. Any question about the rugby?
Gregor, can I ask how did you think Blair went in his, well, it's not his first start, but how did he go at 10?
Yeah, they played very well. He was a real threat with his passing game, his running game. In that first half, we were finding space. We put Ireland under pressure. I thought he defended well too. He was unlucky at one really good kick that Darcy got penalised for, which we felt was a block by Ireland, but we didn't get that decision. So yeah, for a first Test match and first Six Nations match at 10 against such a good side, I thought he played very well.
Gregor, what are your overall reflections on the tournament?
Yeah, disappointed. Obviously, we as coaches will look more at the performances and the fundamentals of our performances. Yes, we'll look at the results, and that's what we're here to deliver. We did deliver the results, but the performances weren't good enough in the Wales game in particular, and that was the most disappointing aspect, that we had an opportunity going down to Wales and we weren't accurate enough. And following that, we had some very good moments against France, but they were the better team on the day. Likewise today, Italy was a good bounce back, but we obviously didn't get the wins either side of that Italy game.
Last question, please.
Gregor, you obviously had the aim of trying to be in the mix for the title come the final day. You've fallen short, as you mentioned, the discipline issues kind of on and off the pitch last week. Do you still believe that this group has the mentality to compete week in, week out and actually be in a position to win championships, or at least go into the final weekend with a chance?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we'll have to see. We'll get a test. A real challenge in the summer. We go away from home and we go to Argentina. We've got some outstanding teams coming to visit us in November, and those are ultimately the ways we prepare to be more competitive in the next Six Nations. Such a strong tournament now, the Six Nations. France have won every game they played this season. Ireland have won every game apart from the game they played in Paris. So there's two of the best teams in the world, and they're in our competition, never mind Wales, England and Italy. So yeah, we have to be better to be competitive. we'll go in next year with the same mindset and same ambitions and same expectations that we have had, not just this year, but last year and the years before. We go into tournaments believing in our group and believing we can be a match for anybody. And we weren't good enough this year. That's obvious. We'll have to reflect on that and build towards the summer and then build towards November again.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,